What is the weirdest text you got that was accidentally sent to you? When I changed phone numbers back in 19, I got the old number of some guy in his 20s in the same city who obviously lives his best life or something. For years after that, I got calls and texts from his families and friends looking for him. Hey, we're going out tonight. You coming? We're meeting at a nightclub. Thanks, bro, but this isn't Ethan. Oh, who are you? A single mom in her late 30s. You can come too. Thanks, that's nice of you, but I haven't been clubbing since like 2006. We'll pick you up if you break something. Come get crunk. It was hilarious. Story 2. I got a video of my buddy pleasuring himself in a bathroom. Didn't hear from him for hours after when I responded, WTF. Apparently his ex-girlfriend suspected him of cheating, snuck into his phone while he slept, and mass sent the video to everyone in his contacts. Apparently they regularly exchanged nudes, including his mother. I guess not entirely an accident, but I still think it counts. Doing this for suspecting someone is cheating is pretty evil. I mean, I think the act itself of revenge adult content is pretty abhorrent, but if you cheated on someone, then I think you have disrespected them, that you should expect something. I'm not saying you necessarily deserve it, but you shouldn't be surprised. But just for suspecting they're cheating, I don't like that. Story 3. I get a lot of WhatsApp messages from people asking to buy drugs. I've never sold or done drugs, but every few weeks someone will message me asking for something. I'll message back and tell them they got the wrong number, and they'll either straight up block me or tell me to stop screwing around. Sometimes they'll even phone me and then find out it's the wrong number and block me. They're always really far away from me, like other side of the country. I assume there's some dealer out there who has a similar number to mine. Story 4. Left my ex's house, together for 1.5 years at this point, and within a few minutes got a text from him that said, I apologize. This was weird because we had just had a great night together. He came up with some explanation that didn't make sense when I asked what he was sorry for, and deep down I felt like the text was for someone else. Yeah, turns out the text was for someone else, his other girlfriend, who he had been with for 3 years at this point, and he was apologizing for ignoring her the whole night since he was with me. This was my first clue he was cheating, but I had no evidence at the time. 1 month after we broke up, he posted his engagement photos with her, and the pics were definitely taken when we were still together. Now, I think this guy sucks for a lot of reasons. I am also just a little bit impressed. 2 girlfriends? 1.5 years? 3 years? First of all, I'm in a weird way impressed by the detachment he can have from relationships and not see how this is incredibly wrong. And also just the fact that he managed to hide it for that long. But those things are the only brownie points this guy will be getting from me. Cheaters are pieces of garbage. Having 2 girlfriends and leading one on essentially for 1.5 years, that's even worse. Story 5. It's a friend's story. In the parents-students WhatsApp group from his school, a mother sent a video of her pleasuring herself, obviously intended for her husband. This was when the delete for everyone option wasn't available, so she begged for everyone to erase it. Obviously, most of the group didn't, so the poor kid was bullied by being forced to see the video a lot of times. They eventually moved to another city. How do people send stuff like that and not, like, quadruple check the recipient? I would be so paranoid. I mean, I also haven't done that, and it seems risky in general, so I'm not a huge fan of doing it myself, but I understand why people would. That being said, be careful, guys. It's easy to double check. It's not easy to deal with the consequences if you don't. Story 6. When I got my new cell number, the previous owner, Edward, never updated his social network. After so many conversations with his associates, I pretty much became Edward, as I started to learn about his life. I resisted ever being cruel or a jerk, and just simply integrated into his social circle. I think the worst thing I did was ruin his chances of purchasing a couch off of Craigslist. The seller kept messaging me and I started to obsess over the framed horse photo in the background. She refused to throw in the photo, so I decided the couch wasn't worth it. Oh, and his church desperately needed me to step in and play piano. I sent a video of a cat smashing piano keys as a reply. No idea if he ever played or not. This went on for years until one day it simply stopped. It was odd in a way, as I felt like I had lost something, especially my relationship with John, who was an alcoholic. Story 7. My youngest sister had just graduated high school and was super excited to be living on her own at college. Well, she was so excited about her Christmas tree that she put up in her apartment with her roommates and wanted to send me a picture. The message came through and it was a photo of my sister topless. I felt like my brain did a Control-Alt-Delete so bad my wife actually took the phone out of my hand to see what was wrong. She immediately texted my sister, Kelly, not her real name, wrong photo. My sister was mortified. For the next week, whenever my text alert would go off, I would involuntarily say, Kelly's boobs, like I had PTSD from the whole thing. I had to change my alert tone. I really liked that tone. Story 8. Got a text from a woman I just interviewed with while she was posing with a top with a boob window so large she may as well have sent me a picture of herself topless. It just would have saved time. But I needed the job. So I replied as a new hire would, stating that the photo made me feel uncomfortable and that if she could not send me such things in the future. It turns out she was sending the picture to her brother. We have the same first name, but now that raises further questions. Anyway, I dropped the subject like a stone and promised to delete the photo, but it lives rent-free in my mind anyway. Story 9. Had a guy send me his abs. I told him it was the wrong number. He wouldn't let up that I was the girl he met at the club the night before. I told him again and he wouldn't have it. So I proceeded to screw with him for the next 7 hours while at work. For hours, I talked dirty to this dude. He kept begging for a picture. Told my coworkers, showed them the texts, finally decided to send him a pic. Went to the bathroom, stripped, took a selfie, and sent. He was not ready for the heavily tattooed bearded man giving him the Betty Boop pose. He did respond once more saying, "That's screwed up, you could have told me it was a wrong number." I only responded once more asking when he was going to take me out. Never heard from him again. Well, he did tell you, so you got what you paid for? Played for? I don't know. But whatever he did, he got it. Moving on. Story 10. Some years ago, my best friend's wife, ex-wife now, but not because of this. She had been texting me about basketball. We both had daughters playing on the same team that she was coaching, and she was also friskily texting him. Got her conversations crossed and I got a grainy Motorola Razr picture of her spitting on her breasts. I responded, "I appreciate the gesture, but I don't think you meant to send that to me." She apologized about 6,000 times, and we swore to keep that little incident a secret. Story 11. Had a woman repeatedly text me, "Stacy, I need to cancel my yoga class for tomorrow." Despite numerous replies telling her I'm not Stacy and she had the wrong number, she insisted she did not, and she said that I needed to stop playing around and act professionally. So the next time she texted back, I told her, "Per the cancellation policy you agreed to, we do not allow cancellations within 48 hours of the class. And if you'd still like to cancel, you will still be charged for the cost of the session, plus a $25 administrative fee. Please let me know how you'd like to proceed." Didn't hear anything back for about 2 hours, then I got another message. "Sorry, I guess I really did have the wrong number. Have a good day." Story 12. Not exactly a text, but close. I don't usually answer unknown numbers calls. A number called me 4 times in a row, so I answered the last one. An emergency worker of some sorts scolded me for not answering sooner. I explained to her that she had called the wrong person. Realization sets in and she apologized. I hope whoever she was trying to reach is alright though. Story 13. Had people trying to sell drugs, wishing a happy birthday to multiple people that weren't me, asking me if I can pick up their kids from practice, asking me if I'm going to make the meeting, asking for notes from the meeting last week, telling me they're going to be late to work in the morning, goes in waves every 4 to 6 months. So many people. I've had my number for 15 plus years and I can't even count the number of wrong calls and texts I've received. Story 14. Shrek R34. Back when I didn't have a phone that could view images, I had to use a PC to get into my account and download what was sent. I got 3 illustrated images of Shrek characters banging. Eventually, I got a call from the number, and as soon as I answered, he knew I wasn't who he was expecting. I asked if he was the one sending Shrek content, and he just said, sorry, before hanging up. Never got any more. Story 15. This is a little off, but mostly related. I got a text from a number that I didn't know. "How much is your famous beef jerky?" I thought this was a little weird, since I do make good beef jerky. Thanks, Excalibur Dehydrator. But I've never ever sold it. I'm sitting there at the bar puzzling it out. Then I get another text from another number asking about it, and then another. Pretty soon my phone is buzzing non-stop about people raving about or wanting to buy my beef jerky. It turns out it was a practical joke from my wife. She was part of a lady Facebook group with tons of members, and asked them all to text me about beef jerky for April Fools. Funny now, but my friend and I were at the bar frantically Googling to figure out if someone had posted in Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist and used my number. Story 16. Some guy looking for Dave. Apparently a venue they maintain was rented out by a lady for a birthday party, who complained that the hot tub had turned on but only had cold water and was dirty. He asked for Dave about the maintenance on it, and that Trish, I guess another coworker, would go check it out the next day, but it would be like an hour before the party, and if Dave could go with some tools to check it out. I said he had the wrong number, but good luck with the hot tub. He sent a distressed emoji and I never heard from Dave's coworker again. I hope the hot tub started working for their sake. Story 17. It was my birthday about 6 years ago. I get a text from an unknown number wishing me a happy birthday. Of course, I thank them and ask who they are since I don't have the number saved. They send some random name that I absolutely don't know. Turns out it was also their aunt's birthday as well. They just entered the wrong number and happened to wish me a happy birthday on my birthday. That's a nice little cosmic event. The world was just like, you know what, here's some extra positivity that wasn't intended for you, but it's yours now. Do with it what you will. Story 18. My sister and I went to the same university. I had gone home for the weekend and our mom gave me Sloppy Joe sandwiches to bring back up for my sister at school. I drove to my sister's building and was sitting in the parking lot. I was calling her and texting her and she wasn't answering. I was getting aggravated because I had somewhere to be. I had her roommate's number and texted her and said, "Hey, are you home?" My next text to her was going to be, "Can I give you this food for my sister to throw in your fridge?" But my sister messaged me back while typing. I then typed out, "I have some sloppy joes for you, you little female dog," but inadvertently sent that to my sister's roommate who I barely knew instead of sending it to my sister. Story 19. As I was getting ready to leave for work. "Don't come into the office today, work from home." I didn't recognize the number and no ID. Finally, I texted my boss and asked if he had sent it. He responds after about 15 minutes that he had not. So I drove into the office. I arrive about 10 minutes late. As I'm entering the building, 4 guys are rushing to the door. I hold the door for them as they go out. I don't really pay attention. I just get out of the way and hold the door. Still weird, who runs out of an office building? I get on the elevator and head up to work. Go into my office and it's just another day. At lunch, we get word that the bank on the ground floor was robbed by 4 men at 9 a.m. 1. I may have held the door for bank robbers. I have no idea. 2. Who the hell texted? I assume it was just a wrong number and this is all coincidence. 3. Next week, a desk with a guard gets installed on the ground floor. 4. 3 months later, the bank is raided. Apparently, it's a money laundering operation or something. No idea. All in all, weird. Story 20. It might have been a scam strategy, but earlier this year I got several texts from people sending long and similar-ish messages of sympathy for a dead husband, like they had the wrong number. They all had a similar format and structure, but the texts were different. It was very strange, and I didn't know if I should respond, "Hey, wrong number," in case it was some sort of scam. Because it honestly felt like a scam, but it also might not have been. Story 21. I once got texts for in Ashley. I'm a man. I also had the same number for like 5 years. They kept texting at like 2 a.m. I sent back a wrong number. Then they started calling. I finally picked up and had a drunk girl yell at me asking why I had Ashley's phone. I hung up and they called a few more times, so I blocked them. A minute later, another number starts calling, this time a guy. He was threatening me, asking why I stole Ashley's phone. After a few minutes of that, I got upset and said, "I met Ashley at the bar. We left earlier so I could bang her in the butt like she begged me for, and now she's passed out next to me. Please stop calling. I need my rest so I can bang her in the butt again in the morning." Call stopped after that one. My wife was so confused by the whole thing. How does this happen, though? Did Ashley get a new number and not tell her friends? Or did they type the number in manually, incorrectly, multiple times? Or did they just not use the contacts? Because that would be twisted. Story 22. My wife and I were naughty texting each other like we do almost every day, and it was getting pretty filthy. Well, I guess she had also been normal texting her mom, and, well, I imagine you can guess where this is going. She sent the nastiest text, most descriptive text about what she wanted me to do to her that night to her mom. Her mom has taken every opportunity since then to tell me that she knows how happy my wife is in the bedroom. Story 23. I got included in a group text which appeared to be for some sort of business group project planning thing. There were about 30 people included in it, and it became very apparent not everyone knew whose number belonged to who. Keep in mind, I must have had a very similar number to whoever was intended to be included. I don't recall all of what was said, but I made a few dumb jokes at first and then started opening the floodgates. I noticed that the time zones were all over the US as well, so I made sure to give any responses at like 5 a.m. EST for maximum chaos. I worked night shift at the time. It took a solid 2 weeks before someone realized I may not be affiliated, but the group text had already gone to hell by that point. After acknowledging they indeed had the wrong number, one of them asked why I would do what I did, to which I would only reply, "You messaged me first." I wish I still had the messages, but it was probably like 2 phones ago. It was hilarious, and I definitely looked forward to talking to my new friends every day. Story 24. Some kid's coach texted me something along the lines of, "Well, if you don't get me that money for your uniform by Friday, I'll have no choice but to kick you off the team, and I'm sure your parents won't be too proud of that. You'll lose a lot of friends, and from what I hear, that girlfriend of yours will only date someone who doesn't get kicked off teams." To which I replied, "Whatever, dude. Why would a coach go after some dude's girlfriend? A kid's girlfriend, no less. Weird behavior, man. Although I guess coaches at any level are known for being a little intense. Still, it's kind of weird." Story 25. I've had the same phone number since I was in high school, but apparently a drug dealer named J Rock has a similar phone number, but 1 or 2 digits off. I get voicemails from his doctor's offices, his customers calling and talking about picking up drugs, and I've gotten 2 really low quality, explicit pictures from different women. Just had to be like, hey, I don't think I'm who you meant to send those to, so I'm gonna delete that. J-Rock lives an interesting life. Story 26. Had a kid my brothers and I used to hang out with when we were younger. Kid had a stepdad that was pretty cool. One day I got a text from said stepdad that read, "God damn, you make my dong so frickin' hard, I wanna frick you so bad." Told my dad about it and he confronted the guy. He said that he was trying to text his wife. The only problem is that I never gave my number to the guy and his wife's name starts with an S and mine with a J. Never talked to the guy again. Creeped me the hell out. Story 27. I got a text to a woman who was involved in some sort of love triangle or affair. I guess the wife thought she had found the other woman. I tried to tell her she got the wrong number, but she wouldn't listen and proceeded to call me names and threaten me. She sent me pictures of my nudes she found on her husband's phone of an attractive black woman. I'm a white man. This went on for a while and I eventually called her so she would stop. When she heard I was very clearly man, she broke down and I somehow became her substitute therapist. It was super awkward, but I told her the standard stuff that I figured you should say. Move on, you deserve better, blah blah blah. She eventually apologized and hung up. It was a wild story, but I eventually forgot about it. Until one day I took my kid to a new dentist and I realized the lady at the desk had the same voice. I never said anything, but when filling out the forms, I put my wife's number in case she would recognize mine. Story 28. I bought a new phone and got a new number. Within a few days, I began getting weird text messages from some person that was having legal issues. The weird part was that the person texting never asked questions or even asked who I was. It was like this long continuing story about how their life was crap and they're going to prison. The texts were sent at random times. It was basically this person's life story. I guess they were just venting. This went on for months and I never responded, but they didn't seem to mind. Story 29. For over a year, my phone number was mistakenly being distributed as a contact for an addiction rehabilitation center. It was actually awful, because people were leaving me voicemails about them being in terrible life or death situations, begging for help for themselves or family members, only to have me break the news that they had the wrong number. I would wish them well on their recovery journey, but it just felt awful every time. Story 30. I was on vacation with my wife and kids. We were at a restaurant. I went to the bathroom and left my phone on the table. I came back and my wife was visibly angry. I asked her what's up. She kept saying, "You know what's wrong? You're a freaking cheater and a liar." I was like, what the hell are you talking about? I have never cheated on her and I don't even have female friends. She said, "I saw that text from that girl." Apparently, some random girl sent me a picture kind of scantily dressed. And it said, "Do you like what you see, Chad? Thank you for the photo you sent me. You're pretty hot." My name is not Chad. My wife just walked out of the restaurant and started walking down the street. I texted the girl back and said, "I don't know who the hell you are, but you just sent me a picture and my wife saw it and now she's pissed." The girl admitted she had the wrong number and said she was so sorry. It took me a while to calm my wife down and prove to her I've never had any contact with this girl and it was just an accident. I think it probably took her 3 or 4 hours to start thinking straight and calm down. Hey, I can't even blame the wife here because, first of all, she did calm down eventually and listen to reason. The initial gut reaction you're gonna have when you think someone's cheating on you is gonna be pretty bad. That's super fair. And if you think someone's cheating on you, you're also not inclined to believe them when they say anything because they've already lied to you, you think. I'm glad things worked out for OP here, though. Definitely a very unfortunate thing to happen. And with that, that's going to be the end of today's video. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and I also hope you have a wonderful day or night wherever you are. I will see you in the next one.